Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Happy Wednesday. I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Cherubasi. And if you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you smash that like button for us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And if you're a podcast listener, make sure you are following or subscribe there. And leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We're going to get right into it today because if you are on YouTube, you can see we have a special guest standing by. It is Buddy Robinson of the Blackhawks / IceHogs. The IceHogs now because they're still playing.
Yes.
They start their playoff series Friday against the Texas Stars. Buddy, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
So good series against Iowa. You got the 2-game sweep. How are things feeling going into the series against Texas?
Good. Getting it done in 2 was nice for sure. We had a lot of hockey leading up to that, especially to end the season on a 3-3 and having to play every single minute of every game just to make sure we clinched. But we got it done, and to be able to get it done in 2 and have a nice week here before Texas is kind of nice. So just kind of settling in, practicing, and we have the first couple at home. So we're just kind of enjoying a couple days at home here.
Was that your first playoff overtime goal at any level to knock out Iowa and get everybody fired over there?
Yeah, 10 years pro, that was my first overtime goal. So
Nice.
Felt good, and especially against those guys. They're a pretty big rival of ours all year. I think that was our 14th game against them. So it was nice to knock those guys out. And like I said, to be able to do it in 2 was huge for us and just kind of keep the confidence high.
I think winning
ahead.
that first game, we were there for the first game, and we talked to players and coaches after the game and kind of asked everybody, did that feel like a must win? And everybody said yes. And I think maybe getting that win when it's 1 at home, then 2 on the road in a 3-game series, that can be so lifting for the team that wins and so crushing for the team that loses. I know, you guys had to have a ton of confidence heading to Iowa knowing you just had to win 1.
Right, 100%. It's these short series in the American League are kind of strange, but no room for error, right? So that first game, especially it's at home, you don't want to go into another team's barn there and have to try and take 2 on the weekend. So to get that first one at home was nice, and then like you said, just to know we were only going there for to get 1 and being able to do it on the first night was huge. So that first one in a best of 3 is you don't want to say must win, but as close as it gets to must win for sure. So it was great to get that one done, and especially quick in overtime too. Rest the legs up a little bit for the game the next couple days later.
Now you've played enough in the AHL playoffs before in different formats. Do you like the more shorter series now that they've kind of shifted to where it's the best of 3 play-in and then the kind of quote unquote first round is best of 5 rather than everything kind of being
right.
best of 5 and then 7s and a best of 7s from there on?
I think it's nice to be able to be playing playoff hockey. The play-in series kind of allows for more teams to get in, and I think the American League is doing a very good job of just trying to grow the game a little bit and make sure that development happens for more people. And it's great you see the success people have jumping up to the next level. So just more meaningful hockey towards the end of the year is never a bad thing, and to be able to get more teams in is huge. And we're one of the benefactors of that at this point of the season with all the movement we had and kind of not having a steady team throughout the season. So that play-in series kind of helps us, plays to our advantage a little bit. So feeling good about our team now and ready to get things rolling for real now.
Kind of got a 2-parter for this series coming up. Texas won the Central Division in the regular season, but you guys did good. You guys were 5-3 against them. So first part is kind of like, does that give you guys a little more confidence going into this series that you know how to beat these guys? And How big is that first period going to be Friday night, considering this is going to be Texas's first game in 2 weeks? Congratulations, you won a division. Don't play for 2 weeks, and then your first game is on the road. So how big is that first period going to be?
Yeah, for sure. Your first part there, it's definitely better than saying we went 0-8 against them. But just to know that we're right there with them. We know they're a good team. They're top of the division for a reason. But to know we're right there with them. We've played some good games against them all year. I think we're confident. And then to your second part, it's almost like a little blessing. We got a couple playoff games under our belt already here. Now we're feeling good. We're feeling what it's like to be in tight series and tight games. And we're just going to carry that over to Friday. Hopefully we can jump on them early, just because we've had that a couple games, to get into the playoff kind of hockey.
You mentioned earlier, the point of the season where, Reichel gets called up and Gutman is called up, then he's injured, and you're really kind of shorthanded down in Rockford. I know you guys understand the big picture and that the AHL team feeds the NHL team, but you feel a little bit of frustration when you're seeing a lot of talent taken away when you're trying to compete for a playoff spot?
No, I mean, you're happy for guys, right? It's always about getting to the next level. At the end of the day, like you just said, everything is about the National Hockey League and what guys can do to get there and what's going to make their careers lead in that direction. So when your teammates are going up and down, it's exciting, and you wish nothing but the best for them. Like when you're in the moment, when games are going on and you're starting to lose a couple in a row, you're for sure thinking to yourself, we could use some help. But when you're the guy that's being called up and given that NHL time, you wouldn't trade that for the world. So um, just do what you can in the American League. You bring new bodies in, it gives more opportunities to guys that maybe not have a chance to play extra minutes or maybe not in the lineup for a couple games. So I think it just makes guys hungrier to prove that they belong, in the American League as well, and to just get confidence moving forward, because playoff runs are tough, and we're going to have injuries at some point here, so we're going to just need that next man up mentality.
Your role with the IceHogs this year has kind of been more of that veteran presence to help some of the younger players get assimilated to the professional game and whatnot. And you started the year with Chicago. You finished the year, you had some games up in Chicago. What was this season kind of like for you, knowing, coming into an organization that's going through, kind of a rebuild and getting a new era in? What was the season like for you, going up, going down, being in Rockford? What was that experience like this year?
Yeah, it was a little hectic, but that's the lifestyle, right? We wouldn't trade it for anything. It was definitely different. Last year with Anaheim, we were kind of in the mix for a playoff spot, so it was definitely a different vibe to this year, knowing kind of what the plan was and what the future was for the organization. But it's an exciting time to be a guy that's a veteran leader down in the American League. You're seeing all these young guys, and they're going up and they're getting their opportunity. They're having success because they're playing good minutes and they're given a little bit longer of a leash than, say, maybe you would have on a team that's contending for a cup or something like that. So they're able to play their own game and they're able to showcase what they can do. And then when they come back down, it's fun to watch because we're getting a guy that's having success in the National League, and then they're going to come back down and only do great things for our team down here. All the confidence in the world, and coming down to the American League, where I think that shines just a little bit brighter. So it's been really fun. It's been fun to see the growth on our team and the young guys, what they can do here, and hopefully their young legs can keep us going here on a far playoff run.
Well, this is your first year playing with Lucas Reichel, and that's the IceHogs player we're all keeping our eye on the most. And you were here in training camp and preseason and saw him there. You saw him grow in Rockford, and now you saw him end the season in Chicago. And for us, we see a guy who has made a substantial jump from game 1 to game 82, or however you want to measure it. What have you seen personally from Reichel, growth-wise, and not only as a player, but maybe off the ice as well?
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, you see what the guy can do with the puck when he's going. It's fun to watch, and it's a special talent he has. I think, you said it great. Like, the growth just in one season brought him. I think just the confidence. He was playing good minutes up top, and down here he was always on the ice. He's on the ice last every single game, every practice. He's working on his craft. He's taking faceoffs when he has to, working on that one timer for the power play, and just like to see how far it's taken him. And I think it took him a little bit to get his first. He was laughing at, and then he just exploded after that. Right? He was hot coming down the stretch, and it hasn't stopped down here. Once he got sent down, he started scoring, picked up right where he left off in the National League. So just like you guys said, the full season of growth for him has been a lot of fun to watch, and just to kind of be a part of it and watch him. And any questions he might have had for me along the way. But he's a great guy, and I can only see him get better and better. So the more confidence he gets, it's exciting times for Chicago. That's for sure in the future.
It's kind of a weird season for us to cover the Blackhawks. We do a live post game show after every game, and it seemed that the chat with our fans every time the Hawks would win would be a little contentious because, you know, obviously everybody in that locker room wants to win, but when you have some elite talent at the top of the draft this year, the fan base might not agree with that. And you know, that Pittsburgh game, there were quite a few upset folks after the end of that one. But what's it like in the locker? Because we've told our listeners that, like, we're in the locker room after games, after practices. These guys don't care about Connor Bedard. They care about each other. They care about playing for their team. They're playing for their next contract. What's that like in the locker room after those last couple games of the season where you guys are playing well, you're winning games, even though people may not be happy with that?
Yeah, for sure. There's, I mean, it's obviously not a secret what the fan base and what a city and organization is looking to do, but for the guys in the room, it's work. You put your hard hat on. You go to work every day. There's no one in any locker room I've ever been in that's ever said anything about like, yeah, we got to lose one or two here. And no, it doesn't work like that. Like you said, guys are getting up, and not everyone's on an 8-year deal. So you're going to work, and you got guys watching you, and you need to be dialed in every single night. You need to be playing at the top of your game, whether that's for 5 minutes a night or 25. You need to make sure that you're dialed in, and you got all eyes on you. And if you can make a name for yourself in the games that towards the end of the season might not seem like a very important game, but if you can go out there and have a good game against a team that maybe isn't a playoff spot, or maybe they are fighting for the last spot, and they're going all out. And if you can have a game like that and have an impact on your career, you never want to take a night off. You never want to, tank, I guess the word would be, that's thrown out there a lot. But I can tell you, I've never been in a room where guys are tanking on purpose. Everybody wants to win, and everybody wants that feeling after the game when you've won, and everyone's excited, the music's going. So nothing really beats that. You try and block out all the stuff, but sometimes you make the mistake. You read some comments after maybe beating Pittsburgh, and you laugh to yourself a little bit. But no one's going out there purposely trying to lose, for sure.
I wonder now. It's funny because as people were freaking out, it was just a select few, usually the same suspects every game. After a win, the same people would freak out, and they would sort of suggest that anyone of value should be sat, right? And which, of course, but I think just hypothetically, you're a player, the season's wrapping up, and you see the head coach come with a roster where your best players are out. What sort of reaction would you have as a player if you saw that? If you felt the coach and the GM or whoever were absolutely trying to lose the game on purpose, how would that sit with you? I can't imagine well.
No, you go out there and win, right? That's why you play the game. If you played it on paper, it would be the scores and standings would be a little different at the end of the season. So whoever's in, I know that if that was a thought that was going around, and you just go out there, you do whatever you can to win the game. We're still players too. We're playing at the best level in the world, and that's why you play the full 60 to see what happens.
Well, and that was the messaging from Luke Richardson from day one when he was brought in as head coach was, I know the organization has their wants and needs, but I'm going to make it difficult for them because I'm going to go in and coach the team to try and win games. You had some experience with him as a head coach in the AHL with the Senators organization. What was it like, with him this year being up in the NHL, and what have you seen from him as a coach when you were with him a few years ago to where he is now in his first year as an NHL head coach?
Yeah, it was great to be able to reunite with Luke. He had me for 3 years in bingo. He was my first pro coach, so I owe a lot to him, and kind of just like how I learned to be a pro and grow up a little bit at a young age, starting pro at 21 years old. So it was great. I saw a lot of similarities that I had with him in bingo, and then a few good differences too as well. But like you said, he was going to make it difficult, and I thought he did a great job in his first year. The small sample that I had with him, it was great to catch up and be able to play for him again. But he's another guy, super competitive, and I know that it would never be even a thought in his mind about trying to go down, losing some games, and getting better lottery pick or draft standings. So I knew that he was giving it his all, and I think that the team made a lot of good jumps, and players were able to showcase themselves a little bit this year too in roles that maybe they wouldn't have had on another team. So I think it was a successful year, and he did a great job, and now guys are just that much more experienced and ready to go next season.
For those fans who have not been to a Rockford game yet, what should they expect if they plan on going Friday?
Oh, come on down to the BMO. It's a great spot, and we've got our loyal fans. It's a great arena. It's obviously it's not an NHL rink, but it's pretty good. It's a good size, and fans are right on top of you in the AHL. They have like that elevated platform, and they're kind of sitting right on your head when you're down there. So it's a lot of fun, and hopefully they can get us a couple wins here this weekend if they come down. I think it's $2 Bud Lights on Friday, so come on down and make sure you have a ride home.
Yeah, there you go.
We're all going to be there covering the game Friday, and I hope for an extra long post-game media session to let all the fans get a good head start after $2 Bud Light.
What's an Uber from Rockford to Chicago?
Too, right?
Exactly.
Hopefully, yes.
All right, buddy. Thanks for your time, man. We wish you well. We'll be down there on Friday, and hopefully we'll see you post-game, but go get them, man. We want to keep this playoff going because Rockford's success is Chicago's success, and we look forward to seeing you Friday, man. Good luck.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
That is IceHogs and Blackhawks forward, Buddy Robinson. Good dude.
Yeah.
Man, I hope Rockford keeps going. Obviously for selfish reasons. So we've got something to cover, something to talk about. But
and it's good for the it's good for the players, good for the organization.
Yeah. There's no downside to it, and you get these guys in more and more meaningful games, dealing with long series, travel, the whole deal. Playoffs are different. At any level, it's a different thing. So getting these guys a deep playoff run would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to start seeing the payoff of bringing in guys like Buddy Robinson, like David Gus, Brent Sini, Luke Philp, those veteran guys that, when those moves were made, everybody's kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But they were made to win these type of games. Yeah. And, Buddy Robinson, not going to be the guy, not a MVP numbers up there, but who's the guy that scores the series clinching goal in overtime? These guys have the knack of being in the right place at the right time in these big games. And I can't wait for Friday. I haven't been to the BMO since last year's playoffs, and it should be fun. I mean, you think about it. Texas wins the division, and then they don't have to play a game for almost 2 weeks.
You sit for 2 weeks,
and their first 2 games are on the
travel.
road.
Yeah, it's
in a best-of-5 series.
That's tough.
I mean,
that's quite
you're
the
almost
deal.
like, what did we work so hard those last couple of weeks for? We're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, right. Yeah, should have been the 4th seed, not the first seed.
So, it'll be fun. Hopefully they could get those 2 games in Rockford, and then you can go into Texas knowing you only got to win 1.
Ton of momentum.
And, it would be great if they get there. I'm not putting them into the next round, but it would be fun for a possible Rockford versus Milwaukee Central Division final, best of 7.
Be a lot of fun.
That's a series we could get to all 7 games if possible.
Who's Milwaukee play?
Manitoba. That won't be an easy series
that would be,
at all.
Yeah.
But to have that bus series between Rockford and Milwaukee, that's a rivalry.
Nice.
I love covering games at the Panther Arena.
I
love
some miles on my car.
Hey, Milwaukee's a lot closer to you than Rockford is. You'll save money.
That's pretty close.
But that's.
I will bring my own food this time.
Yeah,
if they play in Milwaukee,
just in case, make a sandwich.
Yeah.
So should be a lot of fun, and Friday night the 3 of us are going to be there. I know I'm going to be there for sure on Sunday as well. So hopefully we'll see some listeners. If you see us, wave us down, say hello. Always up for. You may not recognize Jay because in a few minutes he's going to be beardless. But
and if you do say hello, introduce yourself and maybe explain why you want a picture of
take a picture
of us.
Take a picture with us of us.
Yeah,
yes.
with, not of. Yes. That would be great.
Yes. Say hello to us and try to be as less creepy as possible.
Yes.
And we will do the same.
Yes. Well,
no promises on my end. Yeah.
Well, the IceHogs and the Blackhawks, their future looks kind of bright, and it's bright outside, and that is a perfect time to look up our pals at Shady Rays so you can take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm and sunny weather ahead with premium polarized shades at affordable prices. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've ever worn. Shady Rays, they're too humble. They're better than any expensive pair I've ever worn. I've been a customer of theirs long before they sponsored us at CHGO. Big fan. They have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures like sitting in traffic on the Kennedy and Edens getting home after today's show. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair even on day one, you take it out of the box, you drop them, they break. They told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. They don't care how you broke them. They just upset that you broke them, and they'll give you a new pair absolutely free, so you can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. Plus, you're going to look great in your Shady Rays, and you're going to do something great for others in needs through the Shady Rays Impact Program. They are partnering with nonprofit partners across the United States, doing everything from building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime. Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come with your help. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange yours for a brand new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop, and their team always has your back. And exclusively for our listeners, CHGO is giving you their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use the promo code CHGO, and you'll get 50% off all orders featuring 2 or more pairs of Polaroid sunglasses. That's buy one, get one free in my world. Mm-hmm. The more you buy, the more you save. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 satisfied customers.
That's a lot of satisfaction.
That is.
And if you want to get satisfied and look hot and sexy during the summer months,
you
can get fitted out in the best sports gear around with our friends at FOCO. Hoodies,
I can pull
shoes,
off the hot part.
signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. It is spring and baseball season. Get yourself an Aloha shirt, a straw hat, polos, bags, everything you need for a day at the ball yard. They've donated some great set decorations for us here, our friends at FOCO, so they're all around us. They're ever present, our friends at FOCO. They're awesome, so show them some love. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in our description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Again, that's FOCO.com, FOCO.com. Use that code CHGO for 10% off all non-presale items.
Yeah. All right. Is it that time?
I guess so.
I think it's that time. There's no more 33-year-old, 35-year-old gum to chew.
No.
There is just one beard to shave.
Yeah, so I got my little side salon set up over here. Because I don't want to pull a Sean Anderson and get my hair over to the studio.
Yeah.
So I brought my Beard King.
The Beard
Not
King.
a sponsor, but they should be.
I own one of those.
Might as well.
Those are fabulous.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this table in front of me, and I'm going to adhere my Beard King to the table, and then I will shave. So you guys, you vamp for a while I get my salon set up.
We will vamp. Hey, how about those NHL playoffs, huh?
Yeah, those have been going on. Those have been fun-ish.
Yeah. No, they've been great. We didn't have a chance to talk about them yesterday, but yeah, it's been wonderful. You know what? The last 2 days, it has been nice to not solely focus on referees and officiating. It has been nice. It's still there. It's ever present, but it has still been nice to mostly talk about the action on the ice.
This is true. I'm getting tired of the the referee bashing. Some of it is justified. Some of it is just a little overreaction. It's the same thing every year. We go through this stuff. Mm-hmm. By the way, the Beard King. You talked about that. I got one. One of the best $8 I've spent because it doesn't clog my drain. So yeah, good stuff.
And it sticks right to the table.
It does. But do you put those on? You put those on your mirror, and then it covers the sink, and then you unstick it, dump it right in the garbage can.
Save my marriage, the Beard King.
You don't get a single beard hair in your sink.
That works.
Yeah. He's getting all professional on
us. See my face.
Oh, that's smart.
He's doing a TikTok of the beard shaving.
But as Jay gets his, this is normally the time where people are getting their playoff beards in shape. You're shaving yours because you had way too much faith in this Blackhawks team.
Too much faith that they wouldn't be total ass.
Yeah, they were. You thought they would be kind of. You thought they were going to be somewhat ass.
They're partial ass, not whole ass.
Now we get to see your whole ass face because of their
Whole
failures.
ass face.
There it goes.
And we're
Nice.
starting.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
last night we had. We could describe the play-by-play here.
The
but
play-by-play of the beard shaving.
it's really not going to do it much for those of us who are listening on a podcast app as opposed to. I think you should leave the
This is
mutton chops.
wonderful.
Oh, too late.
Oh, too late.
That would have been
Yep.
awesome.
Jay, when is the last time you were completely clean shaven?
I think my 40th birthday.
40th birthday.
So 5
Okay.
years ago ish.
All right.
All right.
Greg, was the last time you were completely beardless?
Maybe 2 years ago
2 years
by
ago.
mistake.
Did you have a mistake?
I
and
had a
to
mistake and said screw it.
start it over.
And then I did it, and it was the first time my girlfriend Stacy had seen me without a beard
Oh,
since
man.
we've been together, and there's a reason I haven't been beardless since. She was like, "You look like you're 13. I don't
Oh,
like
man.
this because I
Yeah.
do have the curse of the baby face, so the gray beard helps that,
Yeah.
and prevents me from getting carded for non-alcoholic beer at the Jewels." Which is a thing. You can leave the mustache if you want.
Might as well.
I mean that you got to leave that for Bears draft.
Yeah.
That actually looks pretty good.
That'd be great. The last time I was completely clean shaven was I used to do like full on playoff beards for the Blackhawks back in the day, right? And I would be like, "Oh, I went clean shaven for 2010 and they won." And I was like, "Oh, I'll go completely clean shaven for 11." They lost in the first round. I was like, "Oh, I'll do it for 12." They lost in the first round. I was like, 13. I was like, I'm not doing that again because it's clearly bad luck. So 2012 was the last time I was completely beardless. And
I like this comment where it says all of you guys need to go beerless.
No, I didn't make the bet.
No, we don't.
I didn't make the bet.
You could all shave right now.
Only
We
some people.
could.
Only
There's a
some
razor
people.
right there.
We could.
Nah.
You're right. We could. We're not, but we could. You're right. No, I did not lose a bet, so I'm not shaving my beard.
Not one to bet the beard on anything.
No. Plus, if Mario shaved his beard on set, we'd have like a mountain of hair
Yeah,
in front of us.
you wouldn't need a beard king. You'd need a beer emperor.
You just need a dumpster wheeled in. Right
Yeah, I'll
in
just
front of us.
just go out back.
All right,
that's-
we're getting
that's
there.
looking
That was
pretty
that was
good.
pretty quick. You're gonna have to go home and get some an actual razor and shaving cream to smooth that out. But
It's not bad.
yeah, you know, with no
About as good
beard,
as I could do.
with no beard and your profile, you look a little bit like Lynn Bramer.
Oh,
You do.
That's nice.
From the
High
profile.
compliment.
Yes, that is a good thing. Yeah. Of all the things I could have said you look like with no beard, Lynn Bramer is probably close to the top of that list.
All right.
All right, there it is.
The bet has been paid.
It's about as good as I can do without a mirror. I might have
Yeah.
to touch up.
Just with the cell phone mirror.
I just have a mouthful of beard.
You just gotta wash it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go. Though my keeper of the beard has spoken. Listen, happy wife, happy life. If she likes the beard stays.
There you go. Now you know why I have a beard.
Well, now we can. Now we can. Like, okay, this happened on April 26th. We could figure out how fast you can.
Yeah.
Now we can
Rebeard.
timeline it out.
My biggest fear is I have to confront my softball team full of 13 and 12-year-old girls. They're going to be very, very, oh, my God, you look so weird.
Who is that?
Who are you? Oh, my God, don't look at me.
Someone's gonna call the police on you.
Yeah, probably.
There's a pervert hanging out at the park again.
I look very young without it.
Surprised we didn't go with the was it Coach Shooter?
Well, I realized I was going to keep the stash. Then I realized I kind of went too far on one side. And I didn't want to do the Michael Jordan.
The Michael Jordan
ad
slash a different
Hitler
person
mustache thing.
Give me back my personality.
So, yeah. All right.
All right, there it is.
I know, but I
Yeah, it
overdid
look-
it. Yeah, I would have. I've had a stash before.
The stash looked
My
good.
wife hates it.
Yeah.
She hates the mustache. Coach Shooter is more of a the Fu Manchu.
Fu Manchu.
If you grow that back for softball, you got to get a pair of like the bike shorts that you.
Oh no,
pull
I
up
got
to
a whole thing. I wear the high socks, the short shorts,
The bike
I
shorts
wear a
you pull
headband
up over your belly button.
Yeah, I wear the like the big like Javier Baez sunglasses. It's a whole thing.
You look like one of the coaches from Dazed and Confused.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's how it is. All right, there. I paid
Nice.
off.
All right.
Paid off.
See you tomorrow, folks.
Oh Lord.
All right.
Well, I watched some playoffs too.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about the playoffs.
Yeah, they
we
were
haven't
fun.
talked about them since last week.
Yeah, seriously.
Much to the chagrin of Greg, the Leafs don't look like your father's Leafs.
It's
your
more-
brother, your
Your
brother's
grandfathers,
Leafs.
your great great grandfathers.
I think
your
it's more.
great-great-
I think it's more that the Tampa Bay Lightning don't look like the Tampa Bay Lightning.
They look like a-
specifically Andrei Vasilevsky
Yeah.
does not look like all that talk about 3 straight Stanley Cup final appearances has got to grind you down. The guy that looks like it's affected the most is Vasilevsky. 4-1 lead in the third period against Vasilevsky. That's in
That's
the
a
books.
win.
That's
Yeah.
done.
Automatic, yeah.
And they choke that away. Second straight game, they give up a third period lead and lose in overtime. Game 3, they dominated overtime, and then the Leafs get just a CNI puck at the end. There was. What did you guys think? Did you see the controversy of Lalonde, the now former
Yeah.
Tampa Bay coach,
Basically
now
spilling
giving
his secrets.
intel
Yeah.
on national TV? I could imagine some GMs aren't happy with that, specifically Tampa.
John Cooper had a comment about it. I'll pull it up here. But
Yeah, if you missed it, Detroit Red Wings head coach is doing some analyst. Is it TSN or Sportsnet?
I think it's Sportsnet.
Yeah.
He's doing some, and they had him on after the Toronto Tampa game, and he basically said like, "Oh, we know, and we have it down in our system." Like, and he, former coach there in Tampa, like you can beat Vasilevsky with straight on shots, and he's basically putting out information. Now, I'm sure most people in the league probably know those type of things, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure having a currently employed NHL head coach throwing that information on a broadcast against a team that's still playing in the playoffs is really a good idea.
I don't know. It's
I mean,
interesting. So here's I just found another one on Twitter. A quote from Lalonde says, "We did a study. He was one of the lower percentage goalies in finding pucks from the point. We changed our entire D zone coverage." Like that's good info. That's what he's paid to give.
Yeah, it's good info to put out there, but it's also like Greg said, like I don't think that that's something that is so insider only the Lightning know this kind of thing.
It's
but
not like he said
to
no.
put it out on that stage, I think is interesting. Now this is from Lightning Insider on Twitter at Eric Erlidson. Says, ask John Cooper about Derek Lalonde's comments on Sportsnet regarding Vasilevsky. Quote, he's there because he was an assistant coach on this team. So he's trying to offer insight and trying to give fans something, and he should be doing that. He's just got to make sure it's accurate. That's coming from John Cooper.
Okay.
So, I mean, not surprising that he's probably trying to throw a little, be like, not so much. But, I mean, if you have the guy who was literally just there with Vasilevsky, you'd think he's not crossing wires or misremembering anything.
Yeah. Well, I think Cooper is kind of saying like, no.
Yeah, right.
No, he's
yeah.
not. Despite all the evidence that he was right.
I don't think what he said was anything that like most coaches, most teams didn't already kind of have a book on.
Yeah.
But it's a slippery slope when you start doing things like that. Like if what's he going to do in the next round? If I mean, I know that's his job. You want that insider view of a guy that's an NHL head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got to be careful that you're not, breaking some unwritten rule or pissing off maybe even your own boss. Steve Yzerman's probably like, hey, that used to be my team, dude. Take it easy.
Yeah.
I hate the Maple Leafs. Why are you doing this? But
Yeah.
I could see, I don't think it's that big of a deal what he said, but I could see how that could maybe get some people a little worried about what might come out of his mouth.
Yeah,
next.
I mean, putting an active player, an active coach on those kinds of panels, you always run the risk of them maybe saying something that they shouldn't regarding, quote unquote inside information or insight or anything like that. But I mean, that's up to the player or the coach to divulge or not. He could have just said, yeah, I mean, it's a great shot and a great deflection and blah, blah, blah. But to give the insight, that's a great thing for the viewer. And I mean, Lalonde's not going to do it long. He's going to, he's going to go coach for the World Championships. So he's only here only there for a little bit. But Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that, for broadcasts and for fans to watch, I think that's great to kind of get that information. It peels back the curtain a little bit, and for hockey in the NHL, having a little bit of a peel back of the curtain is good, because you get to know getting to know more about the inner workings of what teams are doing specifically, or things like that. Like that's just great information to have, and it's something that not every team or coach or any player likes to give out sometimes. And I think it just makes it more fun to watch, because now you become more intelligent as a viewer, and you're like, oh, they're doing that because XYZ.
Well, here's the thing, though. Every other sport on your average Sports Center or whatever breakdown show has people that's job it is to find those things. Yeah. They're not coaches of teams. They are not assistant coaches. They're your average analyst. Because there is fan interest, they're going to go into the numbers. Pro Football Focus is a completely independent company that does all this stuff on their own.
Yeah.
And because the thought is there's not a demand for that, or enough of a demand for that in hockey coverage, we never get it. So when we see it, we're like, whoa, that's really crazy and innovative. It's really, I mean, there should be more of that. Yeah. And maybe the way Lalonde in the future can do it, instead of saying, like, we did a study and we found this, you just say, hey, he can be susceptible from the point shot. You just got to be a little more like...
The book on him is this.
Yes, not exactly.
Not making it seem like you're revealing this secret on national TV.
Right.
The delivery. The message wasn't terrible. It was the delivery that kind of...
But I'm all for that, man. Give me more information.
When ESPN had PK Subban on when he was still playing.
That was great.
That was fantastic.
That's what I want in studios, especially during the playoffs. I know... MLB does it where they bring in, like, they've had was it Chris Archer a couple years ago?
Yeah, Pedro Martinez is great.
But like Chris Archer is in the broadcast booth, like, just faced these guys 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
that's who I want as my analysts, are the guys that are recently retired or during the playoffs, guys who are currently playing,
guys who are out,
who know what it's like to play against these guys. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to hear it from a guy that played in the 70s. Because they've never played against a Connor McDavid or Nathan McKinnon. They never had to face that type of thing. They played in a different era where it was okay to jump in the stands and beat fans with their own shoes. Like, I don't want to hear from those. Not in the 70s, it was encouraged. Now, not so much. But yeah, I want to hear from guys who played against the players that are in the league today. That to me, that's more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's why I like, some of my guys. That's why I think Patrick Sharp does a really good job when he does this, because he's not that far removed. He's played against some of these guys. He's played with some of these guys. It helps you give a better understanding than a guy that hasn't been in an NHL uniform in 30 years.
Right.
And I'm not saying all older analysts are bad, but some of them kind of just, well, back in my day, we don't care about your day.
Some of it is not. Some of it comes from a concerted effort to not see the game as it evolves.
Yeah, because to me, I think Mark Messier is not good.
Not a big fan of his as an analyst.
No, I don't. He doesn't tell me anything I don't already know by using my eyeballs.
Yeah.
And he still thinks it's 1984, and he's got Wayne Gretzky on his line.
Yeah.
Chelios can be guilty of that sometimes.
But he's a little bit better. I think he's a little bit.
Well, you could tell Chelios actually watches more of today's game than Messier.
I think
I don't
so,
think Messier watches a single NHL game. I don't think he watches the game he's supposed to be breaking down half the time. Like, I'm not a fan of Mark Messier, great hockey player, great leader. They made an award after him. Not a great studio analyst. I'm not watching it because of him.
So it's funny. ESPN went with the approach to let's bring in big names that everybody knows. Turner, they brought in Gretzky, but he's not there that often with their coverage.
He was last year when they first won. He was more long.
Liam McHugh is a great. So now what Turner's trying to do is they're trying to recreate the NBA thing and be like, we're buddies and we're taking shots at each other. But what they're missing is what makes the NBA show so great is, aside from all the funny banter, there's kick-ass analysis happening, right? So I get why you bring in Bissonnette.
They do both.
And his proximity to the game is good. He still talks to current players despite what we think about whatever. Fine. Anson Carter, I just wish they would stop trying to manufacture chemistry and just do the games. just break down the games with the ability to bust chops. It almost feels like, okay, now it's time to bust each other's balls.
Yeah.
No, that will happen as you grow and your relationships grow. It doesn't happen let's just start doing it and make that the show.
The NBA on TNT wasn't the show it is now right out of the gate.
Exactly.
And I think the NHL is trying to capture that right away, and it's just like, well, you need to have those guys develop it. And sure, some of them carried over from NBC, like Liam and Anson were there before, and I really think that they it's kind of like the Patrick Sharp situation. How much does he want to do it? I wish they would have Henrik Lundqvist all the time, because not only is he great to look at, but he is really analytical from a goalie's perspective. And I think that that's something that not every panel or intermission show or anything like that really has, because sometimes goalies,
We have Scott Darling.
sometimes goalies will only break down the game from they're only there to talk about goalies.
Right.
But I think Lundqvist does a really good job of, from a goalie's perspective, breaking down everything that happens in front of what the goalie does, as well as what goes on in between the net. So yeah, I think he's really good at it, and you just got to let kind of some of those panels get their chemistry together, and then it's gonna come organically, because the NBA, they can break down their crew can break down the game so well, and they've become really good together as a panel. You said, you really see it as they're just friends talking about the NBA.
Right.
Whereas NHL, it's just break down the game and also play the role of being buddies.
I think that one of the best things I saw from TNT this year is Lundqvist was talking about defending a breakaway, and Sarah Nurse was there talking about how to attack a goalie on a breakaway.
Yeah.
And they were both saying, well, I would do this. And she's like, well, if you do that, I would do this. And you have two of the best hockey players in the world discussing how they would kind of handle facing each other.
Yeah.
In the same, that, sign me up for all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The more of that stuff, the better. And hockey is a very specific, it's harder to measure than other sports because, yeah, there's goals and assists, but as we know, the analytics are very kind of new. They're all kind of imperfect. So those sort of things of, how do you attack this particular situation? Because the other thing too is most people consuming a hockey game have not played hockey.
Right.
A lot of people have played Little League, have played rec basketball, have played Pee Wee football, whatever, and you've got this kind of ingrained knowledge of it just from playing. Less of the population has played hockey, so those little nuanced things on how to position your stick, how to handle a breakaway, whatever, those are new for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the sort of stuff that's going to be really, because you can show it on TV, in a studio, and then when it happens in a game, say, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is happening. You see the shooter's adjustment, all those sort of things. That's how people learn hockey. It's not about Peter Puck? Icing is this, and some cartoon teaching you the basic rules.
Yeah.
Right? Let people understand why the players are doing what they're doing, and I think that's great. So more of that stuff, and that was one of the favorite things I saw here was that Sarah Nurse and Henrik Lundqvist thing.
Yeah.
It was great.
I mean, the growth of the game, a lot of it comes from personality. It comes from getting out in front of more eyes, as many eyes as possible. But it also comes from being able to kind of educate your fan base. And if you have just a casual hockey fan that only tunes in during the playoffs, if you have them watch the games, learn a little bit more, then they can be like, what, this is really cool. I can pass this information on to my other casual hockey friend. We watch a game together, and then things can grow from there. So yeah, while it's great to have personality and everything, it's also really good to be able to talk intelligently about the game when you have the most eyes on it.
Well, in the Sarah Nurse Lundqvist thing, they were demonstrating, and then the other panelists were kind of joking and laughing, Like, oh, like, Biz, why don't you demonstrate this? Like, well, I never got breakaways. Like, that sort of stuff. Okay, that's funny.
Sure.
As it's intertwined in the educational part of the broadcast, which is what it should be. We got more playoff talk on the other side, but want to tell everybody where I'm watching the playoffs. That is Fubo TV. 140-plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device and watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. You want to watch those exciting Chicago Cubs, and you want to cut the cord, the only place to do it is Fubo TV. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO. You can start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. There is no contract. There is no cable. There is no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. I love the multi-view. I've got the Cubs and 2 hockey games going at the same time. Just switching audio at the click of a finger. It's awesome. You get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. You've got the NFL draft tomorrow and Friday. You've got the NHL draft and draft lottery coming up. NHL and NBA playoffs are underway. And like I said, the Cubs on Marquee, and, of course, the White Sox on NBC Sports Chicago. Watch all Chicago sports on Marquee and NBC Sports Chicago with Fubo TV. Use the link in our description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. That is FuboTV.com/CHGO.
Speaking of the White Sox postgame coming up right
Coming up
after us.
momentarily.
Coming up soon. We'll try and wrap quickly so we can.
I don't know if they're in a hurry to talk about this team right now, but they'll be here.
That's true. Hey, it is beautiful out today. It's a good day to get your Shady Rays on. It's also a good day to get out to the golf course, decked out in your Pins and Aces gear. That's right. I wore it yesterday. The lightweight golf hoodie. Oh, goodness gracious!
Beef sleeve.
This is a monumental moment in show history.
The beef sleeve is here.
The beef sleeve is on set.
Are there actual sandwiches?
Are there
in
beefs in the sleeve?
Beefs.
Oh, yes.
Are they still warm?
They're still warm.
Oh, yes.
What time?
I actually was wondering. I was feeling that bag, and it was warm.
These were purchased
Yeah.
at right before 1 o'clock.
So you're talking almost 2 hours later.
Good to go.
Still warm.
I'm going to have to clean the beef sleeve.
Why?
That's fine.
Why wouldn't you want a
That's
giant
fine.
tube that smells like Italian beef?
I got one for Law as
wonderful.
well. I wasn't sure who was producing, but I know you cannot show up to work with beefs without giving one to Law. So these are from Al's
fantastic.
Beef. This is the beer sleeve that I have adopted for beefs.
That is the beer sleeve. Hey, look,
Four beefs comfortably.
We talked about it for a long time about the beer sleeve being able to be used for hot beef sandwiches. And by golly, thanks to science,
Brilliant.
we have proved that it can happen.
I told you.
The mind of Jay Zawaski. It's a weird yet fascinating place.
Beef always on the mind.
That's right.
So look, you can get that beer sleeve / beef sleeve from Pins and Aces, and you can put beers or soda or hot beef sandwiches in there. It'll keep them warm or cold for the entire round. You put that in your golf bag right next to your pitching wedge, and you will be set to go. Pins and Aces also has amazing polos, hats, and golf bags. Tons of great apparel to make you look good out there on the course. Just got the email earlier today. They have their Cinco de Mayo collection that just dropped, so that's
nice.
going to be looking fun and festive for the beginning of May. So definitely check out pinsandaces.com. When you do use the promo code CHGO, you're going to get 15% off of your first order, and you're going to get free shipping. Again, that's pinsandaces.com with the promo code CHGO.
There you go.
Alrighty.
Beefs
I'm
are
so
hot.
excited for the beefs now. I didn't know I was going to have a beef. I'm going to have a beef.
Yeah, I
I didn't know what I was going to do for dinner tonight. Now I know.
pulled into Al's and said, "Tree beefs, please."
There you go.
I could fit another one in there for sure. So, yeah, enjoy, fellas. After the show, you can,
That's
you can
amazing.
chow those down. Mine is already in my belly, but you can get yours too. Yeah, it's cool.
That's
It
wonderful.
worked. It's warm. It is full of gravy, and I'll have to fix that later, but it works.
That'll be all right.
The other series I want to talk about, I think Toronto, is obviously interesting, and they're on the verge here. The Oilers, are the Kings done? Are they tapping out?
I don't
It's like they're not. It's not really in their DNA, but I feel like maybe the Oilers have finally kind of
I
like.
think the Oilers kind of, not to use a mechanic term, but they kind of sputtered out of the out of the gates there. But I think they found their footing.
That's
now.
been a weird series because it seems like when I watch it, the Oilers are just beating the Kings' ass up and down the ice, and then for like 8 minutes, all of a sudden they like forget how to play hockey.
Yeah.
And the Kings are right back in it. But the last last night's game, there really wasn't much of that. The Oilers put a hurting on them. The next game's in LA. They're going to go down. They're not going down without a fight. That's for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes back to Edmonton for Game 7. But I think it's the Oilers series here, which is good because I picked them to win the Stanley Cup. So that helps.
Yeah.
Dallas, they put a hurting on Minnesota last night. Jake Oettinger with the first shutout of the playoffs.
Dallas, man. I know we talked about Minnesota being super tough, but man, Dallas,
and they may be getting Joe Pavelski back for Game 6.
Potentially, yeah. So, game time decision, it appears. So we'll see what happens.
Carolina had a chance to put the Islanders out, but the Islanders come up with a big road win. That series goes back to New York.
Back to the island with their backs against the wall.
The Hurricanes just it's a battle. They're losing guys left and right.
Yeah.
And
I think this series would be over if they were full strength.
If they but you bring in a McEachern and he gets a goal and assist in his first game up, and but then Jack Jury gets hurt, and the Stefan Nason story's been a great story all season, but
they just missed Tavo.
No Tavo.
No
Tavo. No Pacioretty. That's eventually gonna catch up with them.
That's 3 of your top 6 gone. That's tough.
That's like an all-star line missing from. And those 3 guys were there and healthy. I mean, I would probably pick Carolina to win the cup. Their goaltending's still a little Antti Ranta's been pretty good.
Yeah.
But he's another guy that you're just waiting for him to hurt himself again. He's got that problem. And Freddie Anderson is another guy that just can't stay healthy. So I think Carolina gets by the Islanders, and then whether it's the Devils or the Rangers in the next round, they're going to be in trouble missing all those guys.
Yeah, that's for sure. Devils, this looks so bad early.
They're fighting back.
They're fighting back, though.
Great story with their goaltending, though.
Yeah,
that's why I love the playoffs, because these stories come out of nowhere. And now the kid's got 2 wins. He's got the guy now. You saw, speaking of that Edmonton series, they went to Jack Campbell in Game 4, and he saved their butts. But then right back to Stuart Skinner for Game 5, and he gets some win. A lot of people were probably thinking, well, you got to ride with Campbell.
Jack Campbell, yeah.
Speaking of interesting coaches' decisions, back to Toronto, Michael Bunting, eligible to come back for Game 5. Appears he will not. Matthew Knies is going to stay in. I mean, they're 3-0 without him and 0-1 with him. Why screw up?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
The way Knies has been playing, how do you take him out?
Yeah. He looks like a 35-year-old man, by the way. Like on the bench, like he's big and he's got like an aged face, and
2 years
like he's been through some shit.
That's what 2 Minnesota winners do to you.
That's true. Yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah. I just think back to his draft year, and I just wish the Blackhawks would have taken him.
And then the Avalanche, our reigning Stanley Cup champs, could be in big trouble. Game 5, series tied, back at home, but no Cale Makar, no Val Nichushkin. I can never say that name right on the first try. He's missed the last 2 games, and he's away from the team for personal reasons. Doesn't sound like he's coming back anytime soon.
No.
Makar's 1 game, but how many times? This is when you need to see the championship pedigree. Hawks had a few games where I remember a couple games specifically, one against the LA Kings where Duncan Keith was suspended, and then the Blackhawks won that game. Keith was suspended the second time against Minnesota. Marian Hossa missed a game in the Stanley Cup. Like, these things happen, but that's 2 big pieces.
Yeah.
Nichushkin was so big for them last year in the playoffs. They don't win the Stanley Cup without him. They give him that big contract, and this year 1 of that contract, when he's played, he's been very good.
Yep.
But he's dealt with injury problems, and now whatever he's got going on, I'm not going to talk about any of the speculation. There's been things flying around and things that I'm not going to speculate, because if those rumors are true, it's something that I have experience with, so I'm not going to. But there's got to be some level of disappointment in Avalanche fans, and probably in the front office too. Obviously, the guy's physical health is top priority, but you give him this huge deal, and he's not there when you need him.
Yeah.
It's yes. We want him to be. Everybody, I'm sure, wants him to be in a great, perfect state of mind. But you kind of also paying him a lot of money to be there for games like this. So it's tough. You don't want to criticize him, but I could understand how fans can be frustrated with the situation.
That is going to get the main monitor on my Fubo multi-screen.
With the weird schedule, you don't have to flip.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's you won't need 2 hockey games at the same time. Boston can close out the Panthers tonight. I believe Bergeron is playing tonight. Is that?
I think I saw that.
That was the last I heard. I think Boston puts it away tonight. They're not going to screw around. They're going to sit back and hope that Tampa gets a couple more games out of the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Boston and Maple Leafs in the second round. We're certainly looking like we're heading that way. That should be a good series. And then Colorado, Seattle at 8:30.
Should be a good one.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
be good.
Should be a good night. All right, we're going to wrap things up and make way for the White Sox post-game show. But before we do, it is NBA playoffs time. That means big hoops action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get in on the excitement of every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Plus, everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the NBA playoffs. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. Looking here at the quick same-game parlays that are offered every day on DraftKings Sportsbook. Milwaukee Bucks on the money line. Giannis and Jimmy Butler each to score 30. It just went away on me, but that's one of the quick same-game parlays. Jump in on that one. Pretty good odds on that. So those same-game parlays, that's how I play. It keeps you really engaged in the game. You don't feel awful if the team you're rooting for is getting scored on because you got a guy in each game you're rooting for. So Jimmy Butler, Giannis 30+, and the Bucks on the money line. I believe it was plus 275 or something like that. So not a huge bet, but a fun bet. Yeah. So jump on that. Download the app now. Sign up with code CHGO. New customers can make a $5 pregame money line bet and score $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code CHGO. Gambling problem? Call 800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21+ in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Nicely done.
Woo! All right, we're back tomorrow. 2 o'clock, it was Buddy Robinson today. It is Arvid Soderblom tomorrow at 2. So we're going to keep going with the IceHogs as long as the IceHogs keep going. So go IceHogs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 o'clock on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.